Whether it's your first bike, your second bike, your third bike, or your 50th bike, you always want to customize the bike to make it something that you love and something that reflects who you are. The time has come to do some modifications to this Ninja 500 to make it a little bit more of my bike. We're going to talk about the top 3 things that I would do to this bike when I first get it. This bike still is very close to brand new. It has about 800 miles on it, but it has already done one track day. The tires are already worn in. We've got the stock exhaust, the stock tail. Everything on this bike is completely stock, so let's change that. I can't believe this first mod took me 800 miles to get to. Let's pull off this massive whale tail of a fender, put on a Fender Eliminator, or a tidy tail as some people call them, relocate that license plate a bit further into the bike, that way it doesn't stick out like 8 to 10 inches past the bike. Before you do this, please make sure you're aware of the laws in your area. There are some people that like to put their license plate all the way back up under here, but in some places that's considered illegal. Most places that I'm aware of, the license plate has to be behind the axle, completely visible, have license plate lights, and be read from a certain distance back. I think it's 25 feet. Having your license plate unreadable can be a primary offense. That means that the police, if they can't read the license plate, they can pull you over and give you a ticket for it. I got this kit off of Amazon. Obviously, I'll link the product below in the description, but this has spaces to put the stock turn signals. It has the space for the stock license plate light, obviously the license plate itself, but it does come with an LED license plate light if you wanted to swap it out. I'm gonna keep the OEM light just because I feel like that's gonna be the easiest thing to do. And I do like the OEM turn signals because they are rubber mounted and they work. Since this is a budget motorcycle, I'm trying to keep the modifications to a budget as well. I don't want to put in a ton of money into this bike because even if I were to put in thousands of dollars, I'm not going to get it up to 100 horsepower. It's not supposed to be that. It's just going to make it something that's more what I like in a motorcycle. It's aesthetic, it's cosmetic, it's things like that. I do want to give a shout out to Tejas Motorsports in Crosby, Texas. They're part of the adventure lifestyle group of dealerships across the country. They were a huge help in getting this Ninja 500 and putting together this video series for you and for us just to enjoy. So big shout out to them. Thanks so much for the support. First thing we need to do is remove the seat. If you are changing the turn signals and changing the license plate light and messing with the electrical stuff, please also remove your front seat, disconnect your battery. That way you don't have any power going to the connections. But since I'm using the stock connectors, it shouldn't be a problem to leave the battery connected. There's really not a whole lot to this. There are 4 bolts down here that hold the current fender in place, and there's 2 electrical connectors that run through there as well. I'm gonna pull this off just so I don't have to worry about it flapping around while I'm filming, but you can do it with leaving it in place. We're gonna move the brake light wire out of the way. Inside this housing right here, this little rubber piece, you can find the turn signal wires. Once you have those 3 out, you can remove those 4 bolts and the whole fender should drop away. Just a simple size 5 Allen key, that's all you need. Simply pull it down and feed the wires through. It might be best to do them one at a time just because of the space that you have. There is a rubber piece, a rubber grommet that you can remove as well. Comes out just like that. Now we're going to disconnect the turn signals from the main fender. There are brackets right here that have a Phillips head screw on them. You need to use a Phillips head adapter on a socket wrench that is short enough to fit between these 2 walls here to get that out. Once you get the screw out, the metal bracket should come right off. Once you get the outer piece off, there is a metal piece that you have to remove as well. Just grab a screwdriver, pry it out. That's the last retainer that you have, and then you can just pull it all straight through. The license plate light has 2 bolts underneath this metal bracket here. We have to remove the metal bracket to get to the bolts down there. Whoop. Now we can get to the other 2 bolts. These are rubber mounted, so you have to pull the rubber bushings out a little bit. Don't drop the metal bushings inside the rubber though. All this just to get the light out. Now we can see the 2 screws right there that are holding the license plate light in. Now with those 2 screws out, the light separates from the main fender. Now we can start putting together the new fender. This kit came with this plate here. The plate is used to mount the new LED light to, but since I'm not using this, I can set both of those aside. We do need to reuse the rubber bushings that the license plate light were on. They should pop right out. Press thing from the front, squeeze it in, one corner at a time. Now we can put those in the new bracket. I want to go from the inside out on these. You can use something that has a blunt end, but don't use a flathead screwdriver. That could rip it. All right, now that we've got those on, we can thread this through. Wire harness goes through the middle, pull that through. Make sure the light faces the correct direction. Push it into place and then use the same screws you took out from before. Now onto the turn signals. They do have a certain shape to them too. You don't want them to necessarily go upside down. Once you get it to pop through like that, make sure you put the bracket on facing the correct direction. That should kind of lock in place. If it doesn't, make sure you have the turn signal pushed in all the way. Make sure that sits underneath the little lip that's in the rubber. Then we can put the bracket back on using the same screw. Should look like this. Got license plate, we've got turn signal. Let's do the other one. But now we have a fully assembled Fender. Sweet. We're gonna push all the wires back through the center hole. Start by feeding the wires back through. Just in is fine, doesn't need to go anywhere yet. Well, the kit did come with new bolts. I'm gonna use the old bolts actually, because they're just long enough to not have to use any spacers. I'm gonna drop them through from the top. This Fender Eliminator does not have any nuts that are welded to it, which is a downside to this, but it's part of why it's so cheap. So we're gonna use the nuts that came with the kit, nut and washer, on the underside of the bracket. Remember this rubber piece? We're gonna put that on now. Take advantage of the fact that it's slit open. Go around the wires, push it down into the opening. We're gonna push it as far as we can, and then we can kind of pull it with the wires because it'll actually cause some tension. Kind of wiggle it from the bottom as well, make sure it gets all the way down. And then while holding it from the top, use your fingers to hold it, pull the wires up. You can see I've already dropped the 4 bolts through. Now we can push this through from the bottom and add the nuts to it. Just getting one threaded on means I can then put the rest of them in place. Drop it back through the little channel there. And reconnect it. Before we say it's a success, let's test it. We have license plate light. We have left turn signal. We have right turn signal. So I will say that changes the look of this bike pretty dramatically. It brought everything closer in, tighter to the bike itself. I think that looks really good. I'm happy with it for the price. I'd say as far as a difficulty goes, out of 10, I would probably put this at maybe a 3 or a 4. It doesn't take a whole lot of tools, it doesn't take a lot of knowledge, but it does take some patience and the ability to tighten some bolts down. Number 2 is a fairly easy one. I'd say this is probably a 1 out of 10 on a difficulty level, but this is gonna change the look of the bike pretty dramatically too. I'm talking windscreen. This is a smoke double bubble windscreen. It'll raise the line of it a little bit, so somebody is my height at 6 feet tall, creates a better wind bubble around me when I'm at the track or just highway speeds, but the dark smoke is gonna look really good on this black bike. It's quite literally just 4 bolts that hold this windscreen on for the Ninja 500. The bolts that hold the mirrors on are the same ones that hold the windscreen on. So you take these 4 bolts out, 2 per side. Be careful of the mirror, don't drop it. Or your tools. Let me show you how easy this is. And now we put the bolts back in. That's it. So it gives it a taller profile. It gives it that secondary bubble to it too. And because it's the smoke, it looks slick on this black bike. I did not go with the black one or the dark, dark smoke because I still want to be able to see through it when I'm riding. When you're in a tuck and your head's down here, you want to be able to look through it and see the tracks, see the road, whatever's in front of you. Very inexpensive, also linked below. and very easy to install. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the first mod that most people do on these Ninja 500s because of how easy and cheap it is. So while I did say that these are my first mods, I did two very small things before I even filmed this video, things that I found were absolutely essential to riding. One is kind of a mod, one is not. Let me show you what those are. The absolute first thing I did when I got this bike, I think I bought these before I even got home from the dealership. Rear swing arm spools. I didn't get the big ones that stick out and act as sliders because that's not necessarily needed, but this is crucial if you have a rear stand that uses the spool mount. That means when you put it up on the rear stand to do any services, you can just latch onto that rather than using the swing arm. This is a safe, cheap, and easy way to make sure you don't damage your swing arm on the stand. I also got really spoiled of having a GPS screen on my adventure bikes, so I decided to put one onto the Ninja 500 as well. I've used a ram mount, stem mount, as well as a little extension arm, and this is an Aoshi C3 Plus. I've got a whole video install and review of this linked above if you're interested in seeing that, but this is a super cool screen that does Android Auto, makes it easy to ride around, and you can do custom graphics. Dude, those mods aren't good. What are you talking about? We need the real mods. We need what we want. This is what we came here for. What's that last mod you say? I'm gonna change out this giant cannon for an aftermarket system. I'm doing a full exhaust system, replacing the headers, the catalytic converter, and the silencer, and I bought it on eBay for really cheap. Not only is this exhaust really large, very heavy, it is also very dampening to the sound. You can hear it sounds like an oversized vacuum. It's even quieter than a golf cart. So let's go ahead and change this out for something that sounds like a real motorcycle. Start by removing the heat shield. There is a little tab at the top. Pull it forward to get it off that tab. And there's a tab on the bottom that goes around the lower clamp. Now that we've got the heat shield off, we can pull off the can itself. It's 2 bolts, clamp on the bottom, bolt on the top. Remove the top bolt. Slide the can back. Who wants to hear it straight piped? I don't know if you heard that, but there's a hanging idle when there's no silencer on there. Please, please, please do not run it as a straight pipe unless you tune it for that. If you don't do that, then you could potentially damage things. It's not running like it should. I'm gonna remove this lower panel. I honestly don't know that I need to, but I think it's gonna make it more convenient, and I'd rather do it right and not have to worry about scratching anything or not having it show up on camera too. So each of the headers has 2 bolts to it going into the top of the motor. We're gonna take a size 12 socket to remove those 4 bolts. Now we should be able to just pull this off of those studs and lower it down. All right, stock system's out. Let's unpackage the new exhaust to make sure we have everything we need. Connector pipe, mid pipe for the silencer, head pipe number 1, head pipe number 2, reducer and hardware for the silencer, including what looks to be new tabs that can be welded on for springs. There are springs, obviously, for the silencer to the mid pipe. But where's the silencer? What's it look like? What we have here is a genuine, authentic, fake Acropovic pipe. It does have a decibel killer inside, a dB killer as some people call it, that can be removed, but this should look real slick, and it's substantially lighter than the stock system is. The key when putting the exhaust together is really just figuring out the puzzle slowly and not tightening anything down. These 2 headers are even different shapes, so I'm gonna put them on and hope that it's the right direction and the right ones. If not, we'll have to swap them back out. It's kind of trial and error. There's no instructions with these. That's part of the problem when you get these cheap systems is they're not really assembled or built well. I did just discover that this exhaust has a much larger port for an O2 sensor than the O2 sensor is. So I need to order an adapter, or else I will get an error code for not running this. If you were to flash your ECU or have some type of a adapter to remove the O2 sensor, that's a different story, but I don't have that, so I'm just gonna get the adapter to get a smaller thread into this exhaust. All right, so I've got the dry fit set up, but I'm gonna just try to tighten it up a little bit, bring it up closer to the motor. That way I keep the same ground clearance that I had before, make sure everything is where it needs to be, and then start tightening stuff down. I forgot the exhaust clamp. Dang it, this goes right here. So having a spring puller is not absolutely essential, but it is very, very helpful. When you're tightening down the header bolts, do not use the impact driver that you used to take it off. We do not want to go too tight on these. There is such a thing as too many ugga-duggas. Now the question becomes, do I leave you hanging waiting for an exhaust sound? Because I gotta see what this sounds like, but I don't have the O2 sensor adapter. Nah, you're gonna hear it. Oh man, oh man. My neighbors are gonna hate that. All right, so let me explain why I went with an eBay exhaust, not an actual Aero, Graves, Akrapovic, any other name brand exhaust. This is a small CC motorcycle. This puts out 50 horsepower. If I were to put $1,200 into an exhaust, I might get 3, 4, 5 horsepower. If I tune it, maybe 7 horsepower. Now that is a substantial jump from 50 to 57, but it's not worth 1,200 bucks or more for me to do that. This exhaust cost me a whopping $125, and I don't know if it's gonna need to be tuned. It probably will. I need to get that adapter, throw the O2 sensor back in and see how it rides. I haven't decided if I wanna do an ECU flash or a power commander, so stay tuned on that. If I decide, I will definitely do a video comparison of before and after, hopefully on a dyno. We'll see what it can do. I gotta give a huge shout out to the Adventure Lifestyle Group. Tejas Motorsports and other dealerships all across the country can help you get out there and go ride some more. They've got all kinds of side-by-sides, ATVs, dirt bikes, street bikes, everything you can think of. I just remembered that there's a DB killer in here right now. If I take out that baffle, this is gonna be so much louder. I'll do that in a later video, so subscribe if you wanna see a uncorked sound from this bike. If you have a Ninja 500 or any other kind of motorcycles, street bikes, dirt bikes, electric motorcycles, stay tuned. I've got all kinds of great content coming for the rest of the year and more. Hopefully this is helpful for you. If you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned, have fun out there, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.